one of our previous lessons, we talked about relative value and how a particular color is affected by other colors that are surrounding it. Well, I wanted to revisit this for a second because this is where the world of color again gets really cool and it gets really crazy. This is again where your brain will return to being a bowl of spaghetti with tomato sauce, or possibly it could be blended into a warm bowl of tomato bisque with a side of risotto and maybe a glass of sparkling water to wash that all down. Okay, so this is this week's project, and it's called Color Babies. Yes, I said that. It's called Color Babies. The reason we're calling it this is because we're going to be taking a look at background colors, and we're going to call those colors the parents. Why don't we just call them mom and dad? And we're going to compare those to small little squares that we're going to place in the middle of those parents. So every color out there in one shape or form can look like two colors, just like we needed things to get more complicated. But guys, it's so interesting, and you're really going to have a lot of fun with this project. In one of our previous lessons, you'll remember this beautiful classic piece of artwork that I worked on. And we talked about how values can change how far away something looks, or how you can bring things closer to you, how value gives shapes volume, how shadows can ground that volume. But the reason why I wanted to go back to this is because it's a perfect example of how colors react with each other. So I wanted to focus on these two cubes here. And you'll notice the left one I've kind of just left plain, and I did that for a reason. On the right side, you'll see the cube, and it has your shadows, and I've placed this sphere in the background. And the reason I did this is because I wanted to show you guys where we're headed. So what differences do you guys see in these two cubes? Take a close look at it for a second and just see if you can see what looks different. Well, you'll notice that this side of the cube that's in shade, these two colors look different. This one looks darker and this one looks lighter. Well, why is that? Well, I did this for a reason. I left this cube here just kind of plain with nothing around it, and here I added the sphere and the shadow. And with these elements surrounding this color, the sphere, the shadows, they make this color appear brighter to your mind. And also, you may notice this. The sky here, it seems to look like it has a gradient in it, and it seems to appear when it gets closer down to these elements, it gets lighter, and it just fools your eye, because if you take a look, let me open up my layers here for a second. If you hide, well, let me get rid of the title too. If you hide all those elements, it's just one solid shade of blue. And this just shows you how interaction of color is so interesting and how you perceive it. I wanted to introduce you guys to a gentleman by the name of Joseph Albers. Joseph Albers was an artist, a teacher, and a color theorist, and he changed how people think about color. In his book, Interaction of Color, Albers shows us that colors look different depending on what is surrounding them, like other colors or even lighting, such as warm and cool lighting, and that is measured by Kelvin, and we'll be talking about that later on down the road. His series, Homage of the Square, uses different colors to show how colors can change how we see each other. This idea also helps in things like choosing lighting for a room, because the temperature and color of lighting can set the mood of how you feel when you're in a particular environment. Say if you're sitting in a coffee shop with warm lighting, you're feeling relaxed and chill. Or when you're in an office environment, your light temperature is usually more on the cooler side, and it kind of puts off more of a feeling of a professional environment. Albers' work as an artist and a teacher are truly groundbreaking. His research has totally changed how we look at color and how we perceive color and understanding how that works. His ideas still inspire artists and anyone working with color today. So Albers was really interested in figuring out how color worked and how one color can interact with another color when placed beside each other. So I included this link into our project, and I want you guys to go through and read this. It's truly fascinating. Everything that he has figured out, everything he has learned, everything he has taught us about color and how we perceive it. And an example of what Albers was doing is, you can see it in this color wheel. And here I'm going to zoom in to these oranges. And obviously you guys can probably already see this illusion, and it almost looks like there's a gradient in these colors, even though they're just solid colors. So for instance, in this orange right here, you can see how when this orange starts meeting with this orange, that this orange becomes more orange. And as this orange comes closer to this red orange, you can see how lighter of an orange that it seems to become. And this is just really what Albers was looking at. And he started doing different experiments, trying to learn more about how this works. And this is an example of what he was saying. So when you're looking at these triangles here that I've thrown on the page, they just look red. There's really no difference. They just look like red triangles. Let me open up my layers here. But when you add in a red background behind those, look what happens. Those three triangles were totally different colors. This one's got more blue in it. This is just more of a saturated red. This is more of a desaturated lighter red. So it's just amazing how all this works. Here I recreated one of Albers' experiments. And in this example, he's created this blue background here and this orange background here. And he's placed these colors next to each other and wanted to see, well, what happens. So if you look at these two squares here, they look like they're different colors. But when you move these out of the way, you can see that they are the same color. And another example of this is shown here. So we have two squares, and this goes back to our mom and dad, our parents, and our baby. So we have this lighter shade of blue and this darker shade. And then I chose this blue, which is almost a 50% split of these two colors. But when you take that and you place it inside both of these squares, they all of a sudden look like two different colors. And they start picking up opposites. So you can see this color almost starts picking up this darkness of this blue, and this starts picking up the lightness. He also did some experiments where he was trying to make two colors look like one color. And he achieved this by taking different colors in the background. So you can see here we have this deep purple, and then we have more of this yellow orange. So what he did was he would find colors and he would try to make those two colors look the same. And if you can see that, shown right here when I place these. So he experimented with different hues of color, different values of color to try to make this happen. And so when I swap these, you can see the drastic difference of how these backgrounds affect the little baby in the middle. And it's just fascinating to me. So in front of you, you see a project called Babies. We're looking at the background compared to the small squares, which we're going to call the little cute babies. So let's dig a little deeper into this. We're going to create our babies, and I'm going to show you exactly how to make one. Um, and then I want you guys to recreate this. I don't want you to follow mine whatsoever. I want you to create your own. Please do not copy mine. Don't use my colors. Don't use my values. I want you to choose your own colors and make it your own. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to show you how to get there. Okay, in front of you, you see 6 sets of swatches that we've made here. And you have value, complements, analogous, tints, shades, and tones. And we'll run through this real fast again. Our values are just our grayscale values. Our complements fall opposite to each other on the color wheel. Our analogous colors are 3 colors that lay beside each other on the color wheel. Our tints is where we take a hue and we add white to it. Our shades is where we take a hue and add black to it. And our tone is where we take a hue and we add gray to it. So how do we get there to make these? Well, here's what we're going to do, guys. So here I have my 11 by 17 artboard set up. I am doing this project in CMYK. You'll need the following. You're going to want to go back and grab your color wheel that you made in the first of the term. Please make sure, however you do this project, in whatever color mode you're going to do it in, that you do it throughout the whole project. So if you made an RGB color wheel, please do this entire project in RGB. I have done mine in CMYK, so I'm sticking with that. But you will need this color wheel, and you'll see why in a few minutes. And so again, we have our 11 by 17 artboard. I'm using 1/2-inch margins on this. We're going to be making our parents. I believe they are 3 inches square. Yes, that is correct. So we're going to have 6 sets of these, and your parents are going to be 3 inches square. And to make our little babies, we're going to do this on a new page. And this project, I do want you guys to save both your final page of your swatches, but I also want you guys to save this layout and also submit it. And this is going to show how we make a 50% mixture of the colors to complete the babies and make it a whole happy family. So I've already made my blend here, and we're going to do a blend that has 11 total steps. So we've made blends before, no sense going back over that. So I've already picked my colors for my value swatches. These squares are 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch, or 0.5 inches. And I have chosen my colors that I want to use for my values. Let's see here. So I went with a 20% gray here. And on my darkest value, I went with a 60. And what you're going to do from there is, once you get your blend made, we're going to go and expand this. And ungroup. So what we're doing is we're finding the 50% mixture. So now everything's ungrouped, separated. I've got my lightest value and my darkest value, and what we've done is we've found the middle value. So we will count starting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There, that should be our middle value. You can check it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's it. So what we can do now is we can take these colors, and these will make our parents and our babies. So what we're going to do to make these is we can take these colors, because these are the ones we're going to use, and we can copy these back over to our 11 by 17 page. So I've kind of already got mine set up for my gray values. Is basically your 3 by 3 squares you're going to take, and one side is going to be your light value. Your other side will be your dark value. And we already have this sized at 1/2 inch is where it needs to be. So all we have to do is put it right there, and we are going to align and center it. And make another one and go right there. Center that bad boy right there. And there you go. That's one set. So you guys need to go through and make your other sets. You will not use my colors again. I want you to choose your own colors. I don't want you to use what I've done here. This is just an example of the layout. So you'll have your 6 sections of your swatches. And so going back to this page where I said I want you guys to add this in with your submissions, you can see where I've done all of mine. They're all going to be the same. They're going to be 11 steps. For this one, you're going to choose complementary colors. For mine, I chose blue, and the complement of blue is orange. I'm going to skip analogous, and I'll tell you why in a second. I have picked my tint. I chose just a light blue color, and I made that 30% cyan, and then I made a light value of 10%, and so then I will find my middle value, which I showed you earlier. The same with the shades. I picked my shade color that I wanted, which I picked kind of like a mid-red, and then I went down and added black to that for my darkest value, and you'll find the middle of that. Same here. I made my tones, and as you remember, tones are the color mixed with gray. So I picked 10% for my gray, and just went to 100% with my yellow. And I just want to touch back, we skipped analogous. The reason why I skipped analogous is because this goes back to where we need our color wheel. So as you remember, analogous colors are colors that lie beside each other on the color wheel. Well, this is the color wheel that we made at the first of the term, and I want you guys to pick whatever color you guys want that are lying next to each other on the color wheel. I chose my violet and my red violet. So basically I just brought those colors in to my blend here, and that was my violet, and this is my red violet, and I found the middle. So that's it, guys. You'll make those, get all these on a page, and have the final product right there, and it will look like so. Put your baby's name there, put your name, the name of the project. Don't forget to turn in this page also. Again, you guys make your own color swatches up. Do what makes you happy, what makes you feel good. So that's it, guys. Have fun with it. Good luck. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Peace out.